in sport, Dignitas struggling. We have currently about 4 teams that are trying to get these spots up at the top, and it could all come down to the map score in the end. So it's super important for Dignitas to take this with a 3-0 ideally if they want to aim for the top 3 spots again.
I don't know if you said this, Scouter, but I think every map counts.
I think I should have pointed that out because I really think that we need to make it more clear to our audience that the maps are really important.
Well, now's a chance. Does every map count?
Every single map counts.
Every map
Every
counts. So we're going into BOE, and this is a battleground that we see picked pretty often. Gets picked pretty often by the Zealots. Whenever they are on a losing streak, they go straight into it, and they've been on a couple of losing streaks. Feels kind of mean to me to say, but the last couple of matches they've gotten beat 3-0, and they go straight to BOE. So this is a battleground they are comfortable on and they want to play on.
Yeah, and now they have to prove that they have something prepared here. First thing that happens is Dignitas bans out Oriel. She's fantastic for all these sustained fights that we have in the middle. If you have a good battery to provide her with hope, you can dish the damage out. Question for me is really what the Zealots are going to ban here, what their own thought process is. We have, of course, our high priority heroes. Uther, Genji, Nuburak oftentimes playing a big role here. Could even see a focus on something like the Haka and Stitches again. All these heroes have played a massive role in Battlefield of Eternity in the past.
Yes, that they have. Typically, from trends, Zealots goes for the ban on the heroes that are good with the single target DPS damage. The Greymane and the Vola have been their bans in the past. But I think Dignitas, there is definitely a large room here to ban out the Stitches consistently. You just don't want to give JPL that chance to be able to bring out the hooks that he has dismantled many teams with. He is too effective on that hero, especially when he has the rest of the lineup of Dignitas behind him.
It's actually even a bit worrisome that they are waiting this long for their ban. They really seem to be heavily debating what they are going to do here. And Uther is the ban in the end. But considering that we are talking about the first ban here, that was a really long window that they used for this.
Well, Uther has been banned out, and Dignitas will answer back with their pick. It's going to be the Nuburak right away. So Nuburak being brought out here from JPL once again. Zealots will have the Genji left open, and they have shown favoritism towards that Genji, but I still feel like Greymane in particular is a little bit better than Genji on this battleground for the single target DPS. I feel like that and Infernal Shrines is a world where maybe Greymane just edges out the Genji.
Let's take both.
Let's take them both.
Yeah.
No problemo. There you go. The Uther being banned out wouldn't be a bad choice to go ahead and go for those two both. So I think having a tank, though, could be good for Zealots. I think Mopsio, in particular, looks a little bit better on the Stitches whenever we do have him on the roster. We've seen it a couple times in the past.
Yeah, Mopsio's hero is something that I am also wondering about. I could even see him on the Muradin, maybe.
True.
Something that has definitely the ability to sustain the front line alone, maybe even with a double support. But then again, Uther's banned. Oriel is banned. Double support would mean that you go into Rega and Tassadar early on, and I'm not sure if they can pull it off, especially since the next ban phase is coming in after their 2 picks. So they go for the full reset team. They have Genji and Li Ming taken. Dignitas, I wouldn't be surprised to see them head into the Rega right away. They could even try to set up a bit of quite a support choke, but just simply push Zealots into a certain direction here. Rega pick would definitely be strong, but we have seen Dignitas with a lot of charism too.
Yeah. A lot of charisma in the past, especially on this battleground. Li Ming getting picked up early for multiple reasons. 1, she'd probably get through to the ban phase if you don't pick her up here. And 2, taken away from Mane. As always, a solid choice here, and it's great for the DPS on the Immortal. So there it is. Dignitas in the past, they have moved into Kerosene. It's mostly the 4th pick they move into after supports do get choked out. But I think I agree with you. I wouldn't mind seeing them move into that Red Guard, that cleanse being available. Always important to have in the rotations when you see the Oriel and Uther ban already at the top.
Greymane Rega, I would really like that now, so they would put the additional pressure on. Dignitas, Greymane is definitely a great hero for Snitch in particular, so I wouldn't mind that in the slightest, and you can always play around Zelia later. But they actually don't even mind giving Rega over, so they pick Greymane still for Snitch, but they have Arthur's already taken for Zelia here instead. I would have expected him to pick his hero a bit later. So that leaves still bans on the healers up. Zealots, for example, could decide to just simply ban out the Charism, pick the Rega for themselves.
Yeah.
And that would force the hand of Dignitas, pushing them down the road of a potential Morales pick, a Brightwing pick, for example. There's still a couple of options, but it would definitely limit them.
If we do go down that path, I actually wouldn't mind seeing the Lucio pick. I believe this is the patch where we actually have the Lucio slight buff that's here. Lucio great in the double tanks. Granted, the cleanse not being available for them, but if Rhaegar does get taken away, and Rhaegar's actually looking like a ban, I wouldn't mind seeing Lucio in particular on this battleground because he can float around the side, keep his 2 tanks up nice and healed, and the late game power spike that he gets can be great if you can get there.
Yeah, so if they ban Rhaegar, then I'm curious what they are going to pick. Again, Karazim, you said Lucio is also an option here for them. I don't think we're going to see a Morales on the side of the Zealots. It doesn't make too much sense against the Nuburak and the Greymane, and also the potential for more dive for Team Dignitas. I think it would be too great of a risk. Dignitas definitely is going to go away from any kind of support bans, I'd say. You know, more likely to target the front line now.
So the frontline bans could be good here, but what if you just banned out... Would you ban out Tassadar with leaving Genji? No, I think you would leave him up. So they're not going to go into a third back line to synergize that. Yeah, I don't know.
Dignitas is also quite heavily debating this now.
This is a hard one.
Yeah.
There's no obvious answer.
You can still think about Malthael, to be honest, for a solo laner up at the top if they're worried about that. The Haka hasn't been banned out yet either, so there's definitely options that the Zealots could use. The Haka has risen on Battlefield to oftentimes the position being the first ban, since teams are a bit afraid of falling behind around level 10 when the second Immortal is into play, and that the opponent takes the Immortal and runs away with the lead.
Sure.
So we could see that if they are afraid of it, but it is the Malthael, as I just said. It's a good option for a ban. Zealots could now head into their Haka if they wanted to. They can also play their Zonia again up at the top lane. We've seen Zarmany play that several times now.
There's always a chance, too, for Varian, now with Cleanse not being on the field here. Varian into a Li Ming combo can be great on this battleground. A little bit harder for the ramp up as you want to get to the mid game and get to the level 10. Also, we haven't talked about him. Malfurion could be great in that combination too. If you were to go Varian and Malfurion here, you have the Varian go for the engage, you bring out that Twilight Dream, stop Arthas from getting the heals off on his Army of the Dead, and you just kill him quickly.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if you can make that happen without the Cursed Bullet.
Yeah.
That's the only concern I have with it. The Cursed Bullet is oftentimes where that sniper combo really sets it up. I'm worried about that ETC. We've seen that once from Mopsio, and I've been thinking about him going into ETC a bit earlier during the draft, but the reason why I didn't even point it out is that he did not convince me at all the last time. He looked very forced to find a mosh pit.
He looked hungry. He was like, I want a power slide, please don't respond. And
exactly. So it was very telegraphed when he was looking for it, and if you don't run into that unaware, then I don't think he's going to get it. So those mosh pits were a problem, up to an extent where I actually thought he might even head into the stage dive instead.
Yeah.
But if they are trying to play this now with the mosh pit ETC again, then I'm a bit worried for him, since that was not his strongest performance that we've seen so far. It just feels he's too eager on the ETC.
Yeah.
If he has changed the attitude a little bit in the playstyle on ETC since then yes, by all means it can work out, but I would have really expected a different tank here.
Well, over to Team Dignitas. It's time to reveal which support they're going to be picking up for their roster. Karazi's been taken away. It'll be Sylvanas and Malfurion.
Yeah, someone wants to run away with that game.
I think it's Dignitas.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I mean, it was a 50-50, but now that we have Greymane and Sylvanas in there,
that's what I'm here for. Executive decisions on draft. That's what I got. Executive Trickster.
You have a secret coin somewhere that you flip. Well, at this point, I mean, Sylvanas and Greymane, the output that you have against the Immortal is crazy. And Malfurion, after the quest completion, adds to that even more. And of course, Arthas then as well. I think right now, Dignitas is just saying, boys, we're going to end this early. We're going to make sure that we are going to get the Immortals. We're going to use Sylvanas to push with them. And we have everything that we need to just take the lead again, gain the momentum, get a massive lead in experience, get the extra talents, and then crush the Zealots. They are really trying to end the series as early as they can.
And Zealots on the other side, you need to think about possibility of being able to go in for engages. You also want to be able to have wave clear in case you lose out on the Immortal raise. And they're going to decide to go for the engage route. They pick up the Tyrael, so they're going to be able to move in. Also, deal with any hard engages sanctification later on. Actually, they could even go for Judgment with Malfurion on the field. Remember, he doesn't have Cleanse anymore.
Yeah. Either you go for the Sank with the Mosh Pit, or you're trying to get the Judgment in.
Yeah.
Who do you judge, though? It's going to be a bit rough. I mean, if you actually see Judgment, then Sylvanas can make adjustments on her 13, so and make herself unstoppable. So that's a main priority target already gone. I think you have to go Sanctia, because Judgment against Arthur, so that's not going to do a whole lot. Then if you're going to do it, I mean, all the targets that we have here, I think, are not great Judgment targets. You could head for the Malfurion, I suppose, if he goes a bit out too deep, but I think overall the main value that you're going to get would be just simply you heading into Sanctification and trying to combo it off with the ETC Mosh Pit.
I mean, I think if you're having a hard time winning team fights already, I don't mind a Judgment into a 7-sided strike on Arthas, or any A target, and just burn them down quickly and have Genji come in for the resets, and then you have resets going, and you just try to win the fight.
Yeah, but for that to happen, that's a lots of ifs
It's a
and
dream.
whens, because basically, if you want to make a Judgment 7-sided combo happen, you are banking on your opponent being bad. Because the second you have play against a team that knows what they're doing, they see the combo once, and from that point on, they just move always in and say, you have a 7-sided, have fun with that, here's 5 targets, and guess what, they're not taking any damage. So if they pull a Judgment off, it has to be... If you want to play that with that in mind, you should have picked Varian instead.
Sure.
So right now, I would say go and play the Sank here. But I'm really scared for Zealots. With that draft that we're having right now and what Dignitas has in terms of immortal pressure alone, I'm really scared for Zealots.
Well, will it be the Holy Cow here with the Mosh Pit, or will it be the Holy Wow with the Judgment moving in? We'll see here as the Zealots take on Dignitas. We're going on to game number 2.
Game number 2, we have the lead for Team Dignitas as they go up against Zealots, but to the left, the team in blue is of course trying to change this. Zarmony on Tyrael, we have Shat on Genji, Gran Paquete on Karazim, Poik on Liming, and Mopsio is playing ETC.
Dignitas to the right, looking in this game really with that Sylvanas gameplay. Zelia will be on Arthas, Bakery on Malfurion, JPL on a Nubrek, Mene playing Sylvanas, and Snitch on Greymane.
Snitch on the Grey Main once again, and yeah, this is a game where Dignitas is once again just shouting from the get-go in the draft that they are trying to crush the Zealots. Immortal pressure from Grey Main, from Sylvanas, coming in also, of course, on the side of the other heroes here. Bakery not going into the quest talent on 1, so he's going into Vision instead with a scouting drone, and immediately ETC is being attacked. And Mopsio barely gets away, but this is what we said earlier. Welcome to the problem. I am not sold on Mopsio's ETC, and he can convince me otherwise, of course, but so far I think that he was definitely a lot stronger on other heroes.
Well, we'll have another game here to try and prove to you that he can play the ETC life, but for now, Dignitas is applying the pressure pretty well here on the bottom as they get a turret low on health. Tyrael and Arthas will hold out in the top lane, and Shad, hoping to move forward and bring out some harassment, is having a hard time. There is a good thing about the Malfurion is that he continues to really stop that poke that will be coming out with the heals that he can provide on his Q.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, right now, Malfurion, it's all about the positioning for him at this point, and Bakery keeps himself far in the back. The top lane, where we have Tyrael versus Arthur still being fought over. Down here, on the other hand, we have Anubrak just waiting for any kind of ETC engage, and Mopsio needs to be careful. He's going to check that bush soon.
Checks it, walks forward. He walks in with the W first. I like that. Not going to about anything that could happen that interrupts any possible impale that could come in from JPL. Yep. Keeps him safe.
So the Immortal is starting, and this is really... The first 2 Immortals are already going to be a threat, but once that Sylvanas hits the 7, it's going to be even more difficult for Team Zealots to win an Immortal race, thanks to the Barb Shot. But keep in mind that on 1, we have the Dreadful Wake actually taken as the talent on Sylvanas. So it's not your normal Q build, just him heading into the arrow, but just trying to get a little bit more value when you are attempting to go through lanes, drop the minion waves, and also it helps you a lot with your mana sustain.
Yep, keeping that mana alive there. Allows you to push after you grab the Immortal as well, so you can in the place. So here we go.
There's definitely a big downside though. If you start to use your escape tool, your wave 4, to just drop minions, then you have your escape gone, so you need to be very careful about where your opponent is, if you can be attacked, if there could be a flank, and your positioning has to be absolutely on point.
Bakery should be able to drop roots to make sure that he's able to escape, but that it definitely is a major threat. You gotta rely on your teammates to make sure you can back up while you don't have that cooldown available. For the moment, the Zealots actually get a nice little lead here as they put some damage on the Immortal. Mopsio taking some damage once again, and that's one of the new problems with the new ETC is he takes damage and he has a power slide out, which prevents you from having the engage that you would like. Definitely should see that spike later on when we get to level 10. Dignitas does rotate up, starts to fight out on the Immortal as well, and this is their main strength. When they get Snitch and Mene on top of that Immortal, they will work through it.
And they immediately, after putting Mopsio down to half health, started to engage. They knew that he needed to go back, and all of a sudden they're also jumping on Shen, and this is the kill they've been waiting for. They take him down, and they are starting to chase Mopsio as well. JPL waiting for the cooldowns. He's following Poik, but we have Mopsio also on the run. And we can see Dignitas working on the Immortal with Snitch at the right side.
Yes, realizing that they had a 5v4, they went ahead and applied it to a 4v4 and allowed Snitch to get on the Immortal, and he's already taking some damage here. They're just trying to harass their opponent and slow them down on the DPS they put onto their own Immortal. Root does connect on Mopsio, he power slides out, and the Immortal stun will get the kill.
Immortal takes him out, and that is kill number 2, as we have the Immortal taken out as well. Dignitas with a significant lead early on already, and now they have the power of Sylvanas and her trades to empower the Immortal even further as they're aiming for a drop of the fort.
Yes, this is terrifying for the Zealots. Typically, they'll try and push out a lane, that's on the opposing side, and then you bring all 5 people back to stop that Sylvanas. You want to engage upon her and make sure her trait isn't on top of your fort so you can deal with this Immortal. But this Immortal with a half a shield is deadly.
And that's exactly what they are hoping for now. They go through, they disable as much as they can. We have Arthas even rotating to the top. It's a level lead already. Dignitas could grab the level 7 talent even here. And if they do that, things would become even worse for the Zealots.
Oh, yeah. On the back left, he comes in. Root hits Mopsio. Has he power slided yet? There it is. Finally, Mane is able to step forward and start slowing down this fort in terms of defense. Zelia takes a beating overall, but he's still alive with Bakery topping him off. Impale hits on Zarmany, and he will be able to escape, but the fort, it falls.
The fort is down, and they barely escaped here. That's true for not only Mopsio, but also Shad on the Tyrael. So this is a rough game. Shad of Genji here, of course, but Tyrael, played by Zarmany, was also in trouble. So an entire level lead. They have the level 7 advantage now in talents, and this is just rough. Now we have the Barb Shot ready for Sylvanas. That's going to make her life a lot easier when it comes to wave clearing, but also in terms of Immortal pressure. The next Immortal could be a disaster for the Zealots if they don't win it or at least take a few kills in the fight around it.
Exactly. The main priority for Zealots now is to make sure they stay even in experience, or at least get to 10, or get kills before that next Immortal phase is. They either have to win the Immortal phase, get 10, or at least find some way to stop their opponents from moving forward consistently. It's going to be difficult, but they know what their path is to make sure that if 10 hits for Dignitas, they at least can be near that point so they can defend heavily.
Zelia actually gets caught down here, soaking experience, but the rest of his team is moving in. Zelia is still alive. Mopsio missing the slide. Zelia still here, but Genji takes him out finally, as we're seeing the Zealots trying to get a second kill. They're moving into Snitch and try to drop him. Shad uses his Swift Strike, but doesn't confirm the kill. Zarmany, on the other hand, on the way out, is dropped on his Tyrael, making it a 1-for-1 trade.
A good start for the Zealots getting a kill there, but definitely need to think about possibly backing up. They have to defend the pushes happening in the top lane that's pushing into their keep wall. So now they will pull back, but still have Dignitas to move aggressively into this Merc camp and take it away from their opponents because it's a 4v3.
Yeah, Genji is showing at the top lane, allows Dignitas to move in. They are absolutely willing to take these fights, and that is also the Khazra camp now spawning. And both of the teams will look to try and get their camp, but time is running out, so Dignitas doesn't even waste any moving to the top right. Instead, they use Sylvanas to push through, and this is just the power of having the Sylvanas in the mix. They see Genji top, they move in. It's free damage against the fort, and that alone is worth so much as is already.
And it also stops the Zealots from grabbing their own mercenary camp. So the Immortal phase can be the one that they go into and rotate down that and burn it away, and they will do so with Greymane and that Barb Shot being online. They should be able to catch up on the damage already popped on their Immortal on the top there by Genji. Look at it, they're just chunking through this.
Yeah, it's super easy for them now. With the heroes they have, this is absolutely not a problem. JPL, stunned by the Immortal as he was pushed back, is in a lot of trouble, but gets out. Zarmany low again. And Dignitas is on level 9.5, meaning that they have a really good shot at hitting 10 around the time they get the Immortal. This could be such a... this could be a game-ending problem. If Dignitas takes the Immortal without losing a lot of shields on their own, if they hit level 10 and push through with Sylvanas, they could theoretically get the keep, and if they get kills, even end the game because of the level 10 advantage.
Dignitas pushes him to the bottom, which lets Mopsio go in, hoping to maybe get his opponent stuck on the Immortal phase stun, but Snitch does move in. Big stun does connect, though, with the knockback there from ETC. Genji going in, Shad hoping to get a kill, and he gets it.
That was awesome for Zealots. That was really important here. Get a few kills, close the gap in experience. He has the level 10, but they might still be able to drop Arthur's, and they do. Zelia is down. Even the Wailing Arrow couldn't prevent it. That was incredibly important for the Zealots, and every single bit of hit points they take away from Dignitas' Immortal is a big win for them at this point.
This is a massive win for them here. First off, if they can win this Immortal after getting those 2 kills, that would be great for them. They have 5 seconds before Arthas does spawn. Sylvanas is harassing on his side. Cocoon comes down on Poyak, but Poyak turns around and puts all the damage into the Immortal. They know that if they can win this Immortal race and stabilize, they can be in a good spot against Sylvanas. Do they get it? It's looking like it's going to be a no for the second.
8 hit points.
There it is.
There we go. Shad takes it. He might actually fall because of it. Snitch already going in. Okay, he dodges the Howling Blast. He ate the cursed bullet, he's still on the run, and he swift strikes away back on the surfboard, and the Silver Surfer is on its way, but he is going to die eventually.
It's gonna
chase me if you can. Bought a lot of time here.
All worth, totally for them. They were stuck in the bottom lane, moving towards level 10. They got the Immortal too. The Zealots are still in this game. This is actually a big play for them. They're gonna go ahead and push on the bottom.
I have to stress again how important these kills were. We had no level 10 for the Zealots, and as they start to get the kill against not only... I think they started with a kill against Greymane, and then they were able to secure a kill against Arthas after 10 had already hit. That was the perfect scenario. If the Zealots lose out on the Immortal, and it pushes through for Dignitas, with Sylvanas in their midst, plus the level 10, this would have definitely been a keep. It could have been game if they get another kill. So for Zealots, that was a dream that just happened.
A dream for them, but they still have to finish getting through this here. Dignitas does defend the Immortal push in the top. Remember, they do have the structural advantage. 1 fort in the top left, 1 fort in the bottom left. Dead results for the moment. Howling Blast comes out, Root as well. Sank will be used here from Zarmany, and he will survive, but Dignitas burning some cooldowns for that fight.
Now that we have 10 versus 10, there's a few tools that the Zealots can use. First of all, they didn't go into Mosh Pit. I like it already. They have used, they're coming in immediately, trying to go in with a jump. Dragon Blades have also been activated, and it looks like Snitch might fall, and that's the case. Down goes Greymane, as we see Shad on his Genji just zipping through the backline. Mopsio, it's time to help out here. Zarmany a bit low. We have also still the Disintegrate on the side of Li Ming. And that's another big tool that they have. It's not only about the stage dive allowing to side soak with ETC and jumping into the backline of Dignitas. Having the Disintegrate against the Nubarak's Cocoon is a great tool to burst that down. So we're going to see Poik trying to hold on to his ult until the Nubarak uses the Cocoon so that they can burst it down immediately and make sure that they're having a full 5 versus 5 throughout the entire battle.
And the Zealots seem to have found their confidence here. They actually move in aggressively against their opponents, take away their opposing mercenaries on the right side to get that pushing in the top. And they're trying to tie it up in talent levels at the moment. Pushing in the top lane, grabbing their own mercs in the bottom. Sylvanas is forced to deal with that for the moment, which takes away the DPS from Dignitas on the Immortal phase. Zealots, they're in this game right now. Can they stop Dignitas and tie up the series? We still have another Immortal phase spawning right now.
Zealots bought themselves a big opportunity when they were able to win the second Immortal. That was huge. Dignitas' idea was to run with the objective the entire time. Now that the Immortal is going to spawn on the map again, we still have to recognize that Dignitas has much more Immortal damage. They have a way better race, and they are going to try and use that. So Sylvanas not with the team just yet. That slows their race down significantly, so Mena is a little bit slow on this, but now that he arrives, they should still win the halftime show, and indeed they did, by 3,000 hit points. So they still are looking strong here. Keep in mind they also have the level 13 talent over the Zealots.
Now, with Zealots, what do they decide to do here? Are they going to defend? Because remember, they have ETC, who is that global pressure with that stage dive. He can come in at any point if the Zealots find an opportunity to move in for an engage. Here's Zarmany on the top left, slowing down Dignitas as much as they can.
ETC already waiting for the stage dive. They're waiting for a moment when they can engage here. Ideally, they would wait for the 13, but it's half a level, and Dignitas is heavily pressuring the Immortal. At some point, the Zealots have to make the decision, and it looks more and more like they're going to be forced into the battle.
Stage dive comes out, JPL barely getting away. Zelia's in the front line, but he does have Army of the Dead. Mane working in the damage. Kumbi and you Twilight Dream on Mopsio, but he also gets stunned here from the power slide.
Shad again with the Dragon Blade, trying to go for JPL. JPL moves away, and already the Icebox on Bakery. If Genji would have focused on a Nubarak, he could have gotten the kill here. JPL with a turnaround attempt, but it is Tyrael that falls. A couple of unfortunate decisions that we had in that fight. The coordination not 100% on point. They isolated Arthurs, but then did not go for the attack immediately. And when they could have dropped JPL, Shad instead focused on Baker. He used the Ice Block to buy more time. Now it's ETC who's in trouble. Mopsio slides out, and the Immortal is won by Dignitas.
Dignitas with the Immortal now will be able to push in this bottom lane and look towards a keep. They're looking for a kill at the moment as they move pretty forward here, right onto the opposing side of the Zealots, looking for someone to be straggling around. Dignitas finally does get the move in here, and I like that maneuver where they try to push on the side and get aggressive, which allows their mercenary camp on the top to keep pushing. No one had time to go clear it for the Zealots. Finally, ETC will be able to do so with stage dive up in the next 4 seconds, but this onslaught coming in from Dignitas has to be defended by the Zealots.
Yes, and this is definitely going to be rough, thanks to Sylvanas. This is really the big tool that Dignitas can use now. There's Li Ming at the side. So much damage against her. Rampakete with a save. Mopsio goes in and eats the curse bullet immediately. He wasn't even on ground yet as that thing hit.
This is not looking good. Dignitas moves forward. Mene is on top of the keep already. Mopsio has been healed up by Grandpa as well as the well. Quick, sieging away, but he is at half health. He has to watch out for that Grey Mage.
They want to end the game. If they get a kill, this is going to be it. So this is why we are seeing such an aggressive forward push by Zealots. They're trying to make that fight happen. They go for Mene. They want him here. Mene wants to get out. He uses silence already. Mene is low. He's about to fall. He dies, but so does Li Ming, and that Immortal is still on their core. Dignitas has it down to 50%. They are going to take game number 2. The Zealots are falling here. This is going to be it. A 2-0 lead for Team Dignitas against the Zealots.
Dignitas, solid early game. Mid-game started to falter a little bit, especially towards that level 10-9, but they brought it all back here and earned the victory with that Immortal push taking out the keep. And you're right, that was a moment where the Zealots understood, like, if we don't get kills here, if we don't force a fight, and if we don't get the Grey Mane and the Mane taken out in particular, we're going to lose this game. And they were unable to do so, even with the Sanctification and the Dragon Blade dive, and Dignitas walks forward and gets the win.
Very impressive performance today. As I said, they struggled around level 10 for a moment. They were just a bit too deep, and it was actually a really cool engagement that we saw from their opponents. So it was more so that Zealots understood we have to force this now, or we could possibly even lose the game. So they move in and take that. But that gives Dignitas now a 2-0 lead. And yeah, this could be another match that Zealots lose without taking a single map.
There is a possibility that Zealots in the last 3 matches could be 0-9, which would be pretty unfortunate for them. We'll come back right after a commercial break and find out if they can get a victory against Dignitas.